Welcome to another edition of Living World of Draculas. It's been like a week, I'm gonna say, since the events of the scene with the werewolf moot, um, and each of the Canaanites will be able to have reached whatever destination they were going to um, without incident, as the roads have been actually eerily quiet and uneventful for like the past week. Um, I'll start over in the city of Zemeis, um, which I believe Baron Titanus has just departed on his way uh, to Touraine to the north. Um, but right before you left, the Voivode called you in um, and explained of a great pestilence that was affecting the city, killing man, woman, and child alike in not enormous, but still like really significant numbers. Um, as such, like a lot of the city guard is down because of disease deaths, and it actually isn't seeming to follow. It's not like in any particular neighborhoods or anything. It's just like pervading the whole city. There's no like epicenter of disease, and it's seemingly affecting random people. Because like even rich people are getting affected just as much as the poor. Um, Also, all the cats and dogs have fled the city, um, and wild animals in the woods directly around the city are basically non-existent. However, there's still bugs and bats and rats all in the city, and horses have been behaving erratically and like trying to toss their riders and bolt and stuff recently. They're just like they haven't completely run away, but all the cats and dogs have, and a lot of the livestock has been attempting to escape, and all the wild animals are gone.
May I make I guess, intelligence occult?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
What are you trying to discern?
Uh, is there anything that essentially supernatural that could be happening?
Okay. Do you have any awareness?
I do.
You want to roll a perception awareness just by standing in the city?
Okay. Uh, Assuming it's standard, it's 3 successes.
Yeah, there's like a heavy supernatural aura in the city, and with 3 successes, it's a definitely negative one, and it's centered, like emanating off of this obelisk that's popped up in the shitty part of town.
Okay.
However, it seems to have like that's like the whole city feels like a really heavy negative energy, and the air itself feels heavy and thick, like a miasma has descended upon the city. Um, but you left the city because you were headed to Touraine, I
hmm
believe. Um,
Because the city I headed to is like the holy, holy city.
yeah, that's Touraine. um, when you arrive, there are a bunch of men, armed men, in red robes. That some of them have like breastplates and stuff over the red robes, bearing huge crosses, and they all have like they either have like tall cardinal or bishop-like hats, or just various like religious headwear, all Christian in origin.
Oh,
Um, and they seem to be like walking around the streets in teams of like 8 to 10 men and going door to door, like interviewing people. And you see a couple of them like standing on boxes on various street corners, yelling passages from Revelation and the Bible and all kinds of other stuff about like not suffering the witch and like destruction of evil things. Um, and there's a huge amount of crusaders and armed guards, all in heavy armor with like big heavy weapons, surrounding the cathedral of the Cardinal Marlon Wayne. And there are huge bonfires burning all throughout the city. Houses and shit aren't on fire though. They're just like these religious zealot men are having huge bonfires throughout the city, and like the town guard are just like abiding them and not stopping them in any way.
Okay. So, being that I'm leaving this city, um, going to my next destination, he will, uh, I guess, move on his way to his next destination, the next city, to quote unquote, plant another seed, as it were.
It'll take you about, I think, 2 full days to get from here back down the road to La Frenais, unless you traveled about half a night to the south and got on a boat on the river. However, since you didn't encounter any animals or anything on your way from the last city to this one, and you aren't stopping here, you're not getting to feed.
Okay.
All right. So how are you going to not die when the sun comes up as you're walking south or riding south? It's like 2 full nights.
He is riding south. He will probably stop at the nearest town. Realize
the nearest town is 2 days south.
The nearest town is 2 days south?
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. What is around?
From here to the next city, just rolling plains and farmland. No forests or anything.
Okay. So at this point, I guess
good sunny land for growing crops.
I guess the smart thing to do would be to find I guess a very secluded area and dig a hole.
All right.
Or a ditch.
Okay. So there's basically in both directions just farmland. Like there's like little pockets of huts, and, like little hamlets and stuff. Maybe there's like 1 or 2 mills from here to there. But I mean, I guess if you want, like, there's little farm huts where like families live out in the fields. Other than that, not really. There's nothing like more secluded than anything else. It's just like farmland. It's all very flat with little pockets of houses. I guess you could go far away from any of the pockets of houses. You'd just be like out in the middle of like some farm field.
Yeah, I think that would be the smartest thing because I'm trying to pass unaccosted.
All right.
And not draw too much attention to myself.
All right. Do you have a shovel?
My hands work just fine. I'll take the time to do it.
All right. So you're gonna dig a hole big enough to sleep in with just your hands?
Yeah. Because unless you want to say I actually do have a shovel, and I didn't know this true.
Maybe find a shovel around like one of these farmers' houses, but you don't have one.
Could Anthony make an intelligence medicine roll for advice?
I guess. Why? Sure, make that roll, and then PJ, you give him the fucking advice.
All right. Spend a point of willpower.
All right.
That's 3. That's 4 in medicine. So. That's 3 successes.
Cool. You're like a Zamisi, and you could just use your bones to make a shovel out of your hand, rather than trying to root through all these like farmers' houses and just dig a hole.
I don't have bone crafting.
You're boned.
Yeah. Or else,
Boned crafting.
unless he wants to allow myself to do like some weird biz mods with my hands to make like one out of like. No, you need something like bone to do something like that. So. May I make a perception alertness to see if there is a shovel in nearby huts that has like been left alone
Sure.
or forgotten?
You make a perception investigation, actually.
All right. At least successes.
That's not bad. You got 2. You see from where you're standing, there's like a shovel leaning up against the side of one of these huts right beneath a little window.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's like a little fire burning inside the hut, and you can see shadows.
Spend a point of blood for dexterity, and I will attempt to make off with the shovel.
Alright, sure. Make a dex still.
No, a failure.
Oh, okay. Hey! What the fuck are you doing with my shovel?
I stop. Assuming the man comes to the door.
He comes to the window. And he's got like a club in one hand and a candle in the other.
Baron Titanus would ask to speak a word with him.
Who the hell are you? I'm trying to sleep. My family's inside. You're trying to steal my shovel? I don't care how fancy you're dressed. Get the hell out of here.
Sir, if I may, but beg part of your time. I would merely seem to borrow your shovel and return it within a day.
Yeah, sure you will. That's what they all say. You probably stole those clothes on your back.
I hand him a gold piece.
All right. Enjoy your new shovel, my lord.
Have a good day.
Oh, well, good night, you mean?
Good night.
Hey, Susan! A whole gold piece! What a retard!
I go off and I dig my hole.
Alright, hold on one sec. Actually, make a fucking stamina athletics, I guess, to dig this hole.
Alright, spending my second blood point for today. And I will be at stamina athletics. So that releases my stamina. Athletics releases my 6. Spending a point of willpower. Roll it. 3 successes.
2?
I spent a point of willpower.
Oh, right. Okay, so, yeah, 3 successes. Yeah, you'll be able to dig this hole in about half an hour.
Fair enough.
However, as you get to be about waist deep in the hole, make a perception alertness.
Fair enough. Yep. 3.
Alright, sweet. You see several like peasants standing outside of their huts with torches and stuff, peering off into the night, like holding their torches up. And then a couple, probably 5 peasant men, in a group, just all nod at each other and like a couple of them get like actually two more of them get shovels, and then another one gets a pitchfork, and another one gets like a rusty knife, and then the last one is the guy from the house who's like shovel you bought, and he's just got his club hanging on his hip, and they start walking out towards you.
Hop out of the ditch
Okay,
and book it.
you start running.
Yeah.
Okay, they don't chase you. Which way do you run?
Um, I try to keep. All right. So, what location am I at? So I can know.
Hold on, I'll paint it on the map. You're like, I'm gonna use orange. You're like right about here.
All
A little like further south of the river.
right. Okay.
I made it not too big. You're like here.
All right. I will start moving towards the river.
All right. So you run back up the road from whence you came, and let's see, it probably took you about 15 minutes to dig that hole.
Actually, head my way back to the city, at which I came. Start again the next night.
Okay. I'll say like, well, you were about to try to sleep for the night, right?
Yeah.
So you traveled rather far. You're not going to make it back to the city.
All right. So it's too far to backtrack.
Yeah, I'd say you have like an hour before sunrise.
All right. I suppose try to dig another hole because now it's getting desperate.
Oh, you brought the shovel with you?
Yeah.
All right. Do another stamina athletics.
What's the verdict?
Oh, how many you got? Let's see. That's a lot. 1, 2.
Desperation makes you a swift shoveler.
Yes, it does. All right. So you'll get the hole dug in 15 minutes. The whole hole, because you're like you're perspiring blood almost, if that was a thing.
Mhm.
But you get the hole dug in about 20 minutes.
Fair enough.
You're gonna like jump in the hole.
Jump in the hole and like.
All right. You're like 6 feet down in this hole. You got your shovel, and there's like a bunch of dirt on either side of the hole up top.
All right. And on my way down, try to cover the hole the best way I can with like the dirt that's on the extra side. Basically trying to bury myself in.
All right. Well, all right. You know what? Give me strength melee with the shovel, unless you're using your hands, in which case strength roll.
Failure.
Okay. You get like a little bit of dirt in your eyes.
All right. Keep trying.
All right. Make a dex athletic. I mean, sorry. Make a. Yeah, I guess make a dex athletics to jump out of the hole.
Why would I jump out of the hole if I'm trying to?
To go back up and get dirt. Unless you're trying to like, what are you trying to do? Because I thought you were trying to pull some dirt in with you as you were dropping in, like using the shovel.
No, because that's like awfully complicated.
Yeah. So what are you doing exactly?
So what I'm trying to do exactly is, when you dig a hole, there's like dirt on like either side. Basically, try to with the soft part of the earth, basically cause the like the dirt to cave myself in.
Okay. All right. Give me a strength brawl. You're gonna need like 5 successes.
I can't even make that on a good day.
Well, you better figure something out because the sun's gonna be up in about 30 minutes.
Well, then I guess I'm dead. Because I've literally run out of every option that I have.
I don't know if that's so.
Yeah, I think you can do it another way. You just can't. You just don't do it that way. Like,
Alright, then I guess I'll buff my strength until I get it. Until I have at least 5 strength and fucking try again.
All right.
Well, look at that. 1 success.
All right. 10 minutes down. Get 5 accumulated successes, I suppose. You got 3 rolls, so you got 2 more.
No successes on that one.
All right, so another 10 minutes down. Sun will be up in 10 minutes. You need 4 successes on this roll.
Spend a point of willpower.
All right.
also, you know that you can blood up over 5 if you're a 6 gen. Like, you can blood up, or you're 7 gen, you can blood up over 5. Also.
Spending a point of willpower. That's 4.
All right. Just as like you can feel like the air around you start to get scorching hot as the sun begins to like rise up over the horizon, and you can see the dirt pile that you dug at the top of the hole, and you're thinking to yourself like, "Oh my God, why didn't I just pull down all that loose dirt?" And then, like just as the first ray of sunlight starts to crest that dirt pile, with like all of your beast's inner vicious strength, you rip into the sides of the walls and collapse the entire hole. On top of you, all this like super amount of dirt falls on top of you, and you fall backwards on your back looking up, and you're just like eyes and mouth and stuff are filled with dirt. But then the air around you cools, and you feel like the nice, cold, moist dirt all over your body. And you have survived one more night. All right. Over to, let's see. Let's go to Ragnar.
Yeah.
All right. Main city. Like I said, in the city of Vion, the peasantry have been like worshiping, doing all their church stuff, and actually most of their community things around this monolith. It's become like basically the honorary new town square, and there like been preachers there preaching all the time, all kinds of like Christian shit. And after the smithy that was blown up, is like as soon as the people running what was left of the smithy leave one day, all of the peasantry get together and dismantle everything. And that was about a week ago. So that's gone. Also, the Guildhall master, Giuseppe Giovanni, has just hired an Assamite bodyguard by the name of Narsul Narme, and presented him before the prince. And then in like the last 3 days, Victor Valentine, the prominent Toreador merchant, lost several important ghouls and is absolutely livid about it. And he hasn't made any actual accusations, but he has been like not seen at the Guildhall since.
Well, I attempt to get an audience with the prince.
Okay. They see you at like the guards know who you are, and they tell you to go into the antechamber and wait.
I do that.
All right. About 15 minutes goes by, and then this handsome fellow. Wait, that's not zoomed in enough. This handsome fellow comes to meet you. And he says, very sorry, but the prince is in a private conference with Uriah and the cardinal. He sent me in his stead. As I am the seneschal, I'm sure that anything you may need that does not require the prince's personal approval, I can help you with. Come, are you hungry?
Yes.
He brings you into like the. Actually, he doesn't bring you into the prince's chambers. He brings you down a couple of hallways, still on like the main floor of the castle, into a small. It's just, I guess, like a medieval equivalent of like a rec room. There's a couple of like animal pelts on the floor serving as rugs. A few like upholstered chairs that aren't just plain wood ones, and like some bookshelves and an unlit fireplace at one end. There's a desk with a candelabra with like 8 candles in it, but not a menorah. Although I guess it could serve as one in a pinch. They're not like all in a line, but I digress. And he like indicates one of the chairs near the bookshelf, and he goes and sits down in the one next to it, and rings like a little bell. And one of these prince's tall blonde dudes comes, and he says, "Fetch us. What are you in the mood for, Ragnar? Anything in particular, or should I just have something potent brought up?"
I am not choosy.
All right. Fetch 3 of the fat women, and make sure one of them wears something floral. And the guy like bows and walks away and shuts the door behind him. So what can I help you with, my friend?
I have struck a bargain with the wolves. As long as we stick to the roads, we will not be molested.
Except by Geosius, it would seem.
Yes, there is not much I can do with making deals with Geosius.
Yes, but I fear that his wild antics may compromise any deals you may make with the Lupines. And how can we be so certain that they are willing to honor their side of the bargain if they have not sent a leader to speak with our leader, the prince, as is only fitting?
Ragnar kind of looks around for a second. I have been made a leader among the wolves.
Foolish and young you are, if you believe that.
I will stand up, and he will remove his shirt and turn his back so that he can see the markings on his back.
Hold on. I have to find the sheet. There it is. There you are, Anacreon, you old fruit. He doesn't want to load now because I called him an old fruit. Just because I'm Greek doesn't make me an elf. He rolls for frenzy, but succeeds because he has dumb high self-control. Oh yeah. Oh shit. He says, as he looks at your fucking back. Well,
I command my own pack.
what sorcery did you perform to conjure this miracle, Ragnar?
He's going to get very close. He will leave his seat and get very close to a matriarch.
It's Anacreon.
Anacreon, my bad. Sorry.
That's cool. He'll like put his arm around you and lean his head forward to like listen.
My gods from the north are strong, and beyond what my gods have blessed me with, my progenitor has blessed me. My charge is to defeat the Methuselah Asimite to the north, the one that is an infernalist. Nothing will stand in my way.
Your progenitor, meaning your sire?
Anoia.
I had heard whispers. And what proof, what markings has Anoia bestowed upon you to indicate her blessing?
Okay. I will reach into and I will uncork the blood, and I will tip it so that, that there is some on my thumb. I will plug up my thing, and then I will put the blood thumbprint on a matriarch's forehead.
Anacreon's forehead.
Anacreon. Sorry.
All right, one more time. Oh shit! He like wipes the mark off and like keeps touching it, like as if it still feels like it's there, and like looking at his fingers, and then he like waves his finger beneath his nose for a second, and like his nostrils flare, and then he like taps a little, very very quickly and lightly, almost to the point where like you're not sure if he actually did it, like celerity quick, on his tongue, and then he's like, his eyes like flare up, and then he like falls to one knee and starts holding on to his heart.
I will take like 3 steps backwards and just watch him.
And then hold on. Okay. He just like he gets like for a second you see his beast, like his eyes shine with like an insane like animalistic frenzied quality. His fangs all like pop out for just a second before retracting, and he's just got like this absolute his normal like stern, pissed off looking face becomes just like the mask of primal rage. His fist comes up into the air and he slams it down on the floor, and all the furniture and bookshelves and everything like shake and fall, like some of them fall over, and he creates like basically a trash can lid sized crater in the floor, like centered around his fist, and then is like shaking. He breathes out heavily and like comes to a stillness, and then stands up and like brushes himself off. I don't know why I didn't believe you after I smelled it, but I had to be sure.
Ragnar will just kind of shrug. I think it's sufficient to say now that when I tell you something, I speak only truth.
He nods. And he like straightens a bookshelf and begins just like tossing books back onto it. I'm listening.
First of all, someone, I haven't had time to delve into who, has created these obelisks in your town. They are corrupting your townsfolk, and they will drag their souls to hell, which will probably cause you a lot of issue once they've all given over their souls.
Yes. I had noticed something eerie about the obelisks. The prince, however, says that it's a matter for the church. However, all of the church members who we have sent for have inspected the monoliths and quite opposite to our expectations have not only not condemned them, but declared them miracles of God. It is proving to be more difficult to deal with. For if we just sent men or Canaanites, to destroy them in the night, surely the church and the peasantry would revolt. And while that would not perhaps present a security issue for the prince or myself, it would compromise the integrity of the entire realm. I'm sure you understand.
I do. But in the heart of our domain, we cannot allow the evil to reside here, so something must be done.
No one has witnessed anyone erect these pillars, and no one is claiming to have seen them fall from the sky. It's almost like they sprung out from the earth overnight.
They did. Someone planted them.
And how would one, or how would you, Ragnar, how would you and your gods deal with such corruption? Such insidious corruption?
The the warping of the minds of the townsfolk must be handled. I feel as though once we remove them, their sway will be broken. This is not me stating a fact, this is me stating opinion. But once they are gone, their sway should be broken, and then people will wonder why they felt so strongly about these obelisks. But in one night, if you install a martial law with the troops, you should have enough time to destroy them. I am willing to aid the domain by attempting to research it, but I am spread very thinly, and I need to go north. No. Also, he reaches into his sack and he tosses an Atriarch the head of the gargoyle.
Please, my name is Anacreon.
Anacreon, yes. Anacreon.
The head of the gargoyle?
Yeah. That turned to stone.
Ah. A pity.
The prince told me that he wanted the gargoyle destroyed.
I am well aware. Just a pity that he sent you instead of the sheriff or myself. I would have liked to see what this thing was capable of. Did it put up much of a fight?
No.
No. Indeed.
It was weak and died quickly.
He turns around and he says, "You better not eat all my dessert!" to the servants. And then they quickly put the pies back. And then he nods and he reaches into his breastplate or whatever, Actually, he's not really probably wearing breastplate. That'd be retarded. He reaches into like his toga or some shit and pulls out like a scroll, which he unfurls, and he takes out like a quill and ink from the desk with the not menorah on it, and signs like some stuff on the bottom, hands it over. There you are.
Look at the paper.
Oh, yes, this is the legal documentation you need to own the defunct magic castle in the mountains.
After the issue with the obelisks, I was hoping that the prince could levy forces in the domain to assist in the assault to the north.
The prince does have his own forces, however they are currently occupied. It was of the understanding that any Cainite taking domain would be defending it accordingly. The prince's men will remain here with me and the prince, lest all else fail and this scourge from the north reached our fine city. The prince has been here for 5 centuries and seen many terrible things. This will not be the one to uproot him from his seat of power. Mark my words.
Ragnar will like slap over like the chair and be like, "No, you must understand that this is like nothing the prince has seen. This is a harbinger of Gehenna.
As is the rising star in the sky, and as was the 8th generation when that rolled around. Many things are supposed harbingers of Gehenna, and none of them are. You understand, Ragnar? This is a myth. Gehenna is a myth.
What I understand is that as I was blessed by my progenitor, she told me this specific individual seeks to bring destruction and ruin to the world. She did not say avoid the red star. She did not say avoid the red star.
As did Salubri, supposedly. What I'm saying is, life goes on, Ragnar. Do you know how many wives I've lost over my years? More than the number of years you have seen. All beautiful young women who faded and died, and we're all as certain that our love would continue forever. And each time I put them in the ground. This insidious threat is not the first, and it will not be the last. No single force, aside from God himself, can bring destruction to the world, unless it is God's will. You think that this, whatever this is, whatever Anoia has warned you of, is powerful enough to end the world. Ragnar, I could level this city, this province, the forests, and everything around it. The only one who could possibly stand before me would be Uriah. And I am not powerful enough to bring about Gehenna. Why should this thing that none of us have ever seen, that perhaps Anoia has never seen, how could this thing, weaker than Anoia herself, who is not powerful enough to destroy the world? We must we must not destroy the world that we have created, trying to save it from a destruction that will never come. I've built this province from fields, like you see in the west. and I do not mean to see it fall to pieces chasing an imaginary threat in the north. If you have brokered a deal with the Lupines to keep our roads safe, then you have done your job as warden. Anything else, any matters of statewide security should be taken up with the sheriff, that is his office. I have seen many ambitious young Knights like yourself work themselves into a frenzy and bite off more than they could chew, and become smashed and destroyed and suffer the final death, time and time again, and all of them were as fervent in their beliefs as you. I will not send my men out to die in the foreign cold norths, fighting barbarian hill folk who have been there since the dawn of time for nothing.
Ragnar will nod his head. And I suppose these other kindred that you have seen do this, they have had the blessings of their progenitors and have done things that you could not believe another kindred could do. I understand. I understand that you will sit here and politic and spend your days whining and dining with the prince while others die. Because your day as a warrior is done. You can pontificate all you will to me, an Atriarch. No man knows when the end of days is by your Christian God. He espouses as much in his book, and that there are signs and portents that one should follow, but no one can know the exact time. I seek to change the way that fate has thrown the skein. I will divest myself of the title of warden and leave it to more competent politicians, so that you all may play your games here.
Yes, yes, condemn our games and run off into the wilds like Geosius and all the other gangrel before you. You do not see what is necessary to run the world, and so go and lose yourself in it, as your progenitor has.
Yes. Once warrior scholar, now politician, I will follow what my clan does, and we will be the forefront. And when I am lost, and when the torrent of fire comes to your home, and you are consumed, you can pray to your Christian God to save you, because you cannot save yourself. And Ragnar will start to move towards the door.
Ragnar.
He'll turn back and look at him.
He reaches his hand out. The scroll, please.
Of course. He hands it back to him.
Thank you. And he turns his back on you, and walks over to the knot menorah, and holds the scroll over it, lights it on fire, and tosses it into the fireplace. And I will go over to Alexander Grisset.
Okay.
So you've arrived in your province, back in the marshlands.
Mm-hmm.
It's deathly quiet. All of the people in the nearby city of Lahabo have gone to sleep, and you are out, in the dark, dank marshlands, up to your knees in mud, and you can see out in the middle of the lake many, many campfires dotting the banks of the newly risen island in the middle. And you can see rowboats and stuff pulled up onto the shore.
Okay. Well, given the fact that I really need to investigate these fires, I'm going to be making my way over there and kind of asking what brought these people here, what compelled
You don't
them?
see it like there's no people on the bank of the shore. Like there's just people maybe with these fires on the island in the middle. So how are you going to get to the island in the middle of the
Okay,
lake?
okay. Well, you said I see rowboats, right?
Yeah, they're on the island in the middle of the lake. They're attached to the island in the middle of the lake. Like they're on the shore of this island. You are on the opposite shore on mainland looking out into this lake. There's no rowboats on your shore.
Okay. Right. So, I mean, given the fact that I'm a vampire and I don't need to, like, swim and breathe and stuff, technically I could just walk out to the other side of the shore, but if there's, like, no people, that is. Because if
You just
there's
see
people,
fires, like campfires, and like you see the silhouettes of people moving around a little bit in the campfires. And like they have some rowboats tied up, and there's a bunch of tents set up as you get closer to like the edge of your side of the river before jumping into the lake. And you just see like it seems to be maybe like a little fisherman huts and stuff set up, lean-to shelters and stuff, real roughneck shit, and campfires all over the opposite bank.
alright. So there are lots of people over here. Okay.
You would imagine you see like a silhouette every once in a while. It's like the dead of night.
Yeah. So it's definitely kind of messing with my head because these people are compelled out here to be in the frickin' swamps, sitting here making fires, still awake in the middle of the night. So I'm gonna try and find a way across, like some less swampy, at least moderately solid land to try and walk my way across.
There's no solid land leading from the bank to the other river. I mean, to the other island. Like, it's an island in the very center of this huge lake.
Okay, so I'll tell one of my henchmen, and I'll give him a little bit of money to hire out one of those rowboats so I can see what's on the other island.
My lord, those rowboats are on the opposite shore.
Oh,
Do you mean for me to swim out there and see if I could get one of them to sell me a rowboat?
hmm. Yes, there's quite a possibility of losing the money in that case. Let's see. What to do. And start kind of pacing around. You mind if I make um, let me think. A wits, perception roll to kind of see a way into this?
I definitely mind that because you don't roll two attributes at the same time.
Alright. Okay.
What are you trying to do exactly?
I'm trying to kind of intuit a way.
No, I'm not gonna just give you away.
Yeah, I know.
Right. Even with a roll, like you gotta come up with. I'm not just gonna like definitely not gonna just give you an advice roll.
No problem. So I'll just sort of start pacing around and kind of be thinking this over, and
You start having flashbacks as you're pacing.
all right. And you can go ahead and describe the flashbacks and what's kind of happening.
I don't remember what they were supposed to be flashbacks for, so you can describe your flashback.
Okay, so these are memories of his ancestors as the progenitors of his bloodline. So these could literally be anything from Greece to the Black Forest.
Sure. All right. So you see all these faces of great men, great men who share your bloodline. They're spinning around your head, and they're screaming at you that you're a failure, and that you've let invaders come into your land, and now you can't even solve a simple problem like getting to the opposite bank of a river where you don't need to breathe. You're an absolute disgrace to the blood, and no wonder you're living like in this mire and muck when you could have just as easily claimed a castle or a town. Your only opposition was one dirty Jewish Nosferatu, and you still got the shit end of the stick when all of the cards were in your hand, and they're just like screaming at you and making you feel terrible.
Yeah, and what's worse is I know it. I know I'm unfair to be the scion of this great bloodline, so it's hitting me hard. And so I'll wait and see. I'll kind of be listening to this, and it's slowly driving me crazy as I'm listening to it. And I'll wait until some of these people kind of go to sleep, maybe like an hour or two, and then make my way across, swim, walk, whatever vampires would do in a swampy, horrible place, and still have these voices ringing in my head and fucking with my sanity during this, and I just hear repeatedly, I'm a failure, I'm not worthy of this, and I know it, it's messing with my head, because it's starting to play on things that I all my life have suspected that I wasn't worthy of anything really truly grandiose. And to see the eyes of history, all these great things that these men have done is really screwing with me. And not being able to hold a candle to it, and not being prepared to honor this, and being able to see all this greatness and not achieving it myself, it fills me with this kind of anger and this self-hatred and this self-loathing, which I'm going to be trying to focus
Alright,
towards.
so roll self-control.
No problem. Not a problem at all. Rolling in. 3. Roll this one. And yeah, I got 2 successes.
Alright, well, you managed not to frenzy. And when you left the last bank and started walking underneath the water, the campfires were still burning. It looked exactly the same as when you started. But since you waited 2 hours, we've now got about 2 hours before sunrise.
Okay.
But how are you going to come up onto the land? Because last time you saw it was a bunch of boats directly on the shore, and then about 20 feet inland or whatever, a whole bunch of campfires and stuff. So if you just come walking out of the water, good chance someone's going to see or hear you if they're not all asleep.
All right. Well.
But you did not determine if they were all asleep or not.
Yeah. So what I'll be doing while I'm kind of underneath the water is trying to use my enhanced senses and kind of get a better view of what it's like up there. Because
you can't really see even with your enhanced senses. You're walking along the bed of this river, and
right.
The highest thing you can see is where the water stops. You can't it's a murky, dark, muddy lake full of weeds and fish.
Mhm.
Actually, make a perception alertness anyway, though. You can use your enhanced senses to lower the diff by 1, but it's going to be diff 8, so diff 7.
All right.
Unless it's by... Are you using Auspex? Because then I think it's 2.
Yeah, I'm using Auspex, which is enhanced senses.
Okay. So, go ahead and roll it. At diff 6.
All right.
How many did you get?
I got 110.
Okay. So, you don't see it in time. Something lashes out at you from the water that you're in.
All right.
2 extra dice for the ambush, and it made it ones. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Can you soak aggravated damage?
I don't have fortitude, so no. I'd be taking it.
Are you wearing any armor?
Well, I would be wearing chainmail, but I don't know how much ag that's gonna soak.
Does anybody know the thing for chainmail? Or I guess that would be light armor? Or PJ? Any idea?
Yeah, actually, off the top of my head, I don't know, but I mean, if heavy clothing is 1, I don't know, give it 3 or 4.
All right, fine. You can roll 3 to soak this.
Okay, sure. And no luck.
Okay, so it just gets it gets ripped, your chainmail, as some. You see it for just a split second. It's 2 huge bulbous eyes a little green light that seems to be floating in front of the eyes, and just huge monstrous fangs on a long, like, leathery neck comes lunging at you from the murk. It takes a big, like, bite of the side of you through the chainmail and all, ripping a piece of the chainmail off before, like, it swims away in bubbles, and you take 2 egg.
Alright. So, okay. So I'm basically all torn up from that side, and just kind of woozily staggering, trying to pump blood to my dex, which I managed to definitely do. And with the pure blood merit that I have, I can spend not only the 4, but 1 above my maximum, so 5. So I'm gonna be spending 3 in dex and 2 in stamina.
Okay.
Alright, so I'm basically going to be trying to swim up out of this fucked up water, this fetid ass swamp, because
Okay.
I think,
Stamina athletics.
alright, not a problem at all. Alright, and since I boosted my stamina, and there we go, and we'll see how this goes here. Finally, I get some successes here.
2 successes. Alright. Make another perception alertness.
Okie dokie.
Alright, you get 2 successes. Still don't see it till it's too late. This thing comes back for another bite.
Yep.
And again with the ones. Alright. Take 1 more egg.
Alright. So
As
I'm
it
bleeding.
bites you.
Alright, so am I bleeding from the other side as this bastard is jawsing me?
Basically, yeah, bites your other side, but you're not bleeding because vampires don't bleed.
Yeah, yep. Alright.
He basically bites your ribs off.
Alright.
Not really off, but like big chunks of the flesh and like maybe a little bit of the bone from your ribs.
Yeah. Alright. So I don't know what this thing is. I just know that I'm trying to get the fuck out of this water where this frickin' sea monster lives.
You managed to like pop up on the shore with your 2 successes on the swim, with your armor broken and your other side of your armor broken too. So like you just got big chomp marks out of both of your sides. As you pull yourself onto the shore, this thing, like a clawed hand, comes up out of the water after you. So make a dex athletics.
Dex athletics. Got it. And boom.
What do you got?
1,
2,
4.
3, 4. Okay, right on. Tie goes to the defender. You dodge this like final claw attack. You like roll over like more uphill, I guess, onto the shore.
Yep.
As a claw comes like digging around on the land looking for you, and then pulls back into the water.
Yep.
All right, so you're now on the shore.
Okay.
You hear boot steps crunching sand coming towards you.
Alright. So, kind of walk in the same direction to kind of meet these things head on because I just gotten bit by this nasty ass sea monster and I'm having this internal rage, this internal battle with myself right at this moment, and I'm trying to prove that I'm worthy of this massive undertaking, this massive bloodline. And so I'm just gonna try and face these bastards as they come at me.
Just lay here and die. You're scum. You should just let these men behead you. Put you out of the fucking gene pool before you procreate and make any more failures. Like, you see your ancestors standing around you. Some of them have, like, they're armed with, like, spears, and some of them are armed with, like, rocks, and some of them have, swords and all manner of different dresses, and they're all just, like, over you shouting hate at you as, like, these boot prints get closer and closer.
Alright, rolling another self-control because there's definitely a lot of anger and rage and frenzy potential.
Alright.
Okay. 3 and don't frenzy. I'm just walking forward, sword kind of at my side, just sort of walking down this way to kind of meet these onrushers, my would-be attackers or whatever these 4 individuals are.
All right. You get like the footprints stop or whatever, and if you look up at these people, it's like a bunch of weird, squinty, like blubbery-faced, big-lipped, like fisherman folk, all dressed in they're all dirty and they're dressed in like brown rags and stuff, and they're looking at you all horrified because you have both of your ribs like ripped out and you're in tattered armor and you're coming at them with a sword, and they're just like looking at you and like.
Yeah, I imagine.
They look at you strange, like very strangely, and like grip their whatever they have in their hands tighter.
Yeah, I imagine it's a terrifying sight. So I'm going to try and make my way into this building.
It's not really any buildings. There's a bunch of campfires and tents, and like every once in a while there's like a little wooden lean-to.
Okay.
But like these people are in between you and the camps, and they're like just standing there staring at you with like mouths open.
Alright, so I'll look up and I'll kind of just drop my sword for a second. Well, looks like I made it out. And if these guys try anything aggressive, then I'm going to probably attack them, but I don't know these guys from Adam. I don't know them from a hole in the ground, so I'm not going to assume that their sheer terror is going to be overcome and them try and attack for no reason. And so I'm going.
Aside from the fact that a water-laden zombie with his ribs bit out just came out of the water and walked at them with a sword.
Yeah, true. Alright. Yeah. One of those ancestral voices. So, I'm basically going to be making my way towards the camp, sword raised.
Stay back! Don't come any closer.
Considering I've just had one hell of a night attacked by what I can only assume is a sea monster, it's best not to get in my way at this particular moment.
You're not coming into our fucking camps. Stay back, or we'll kill you. Whatever you are, we'll re-kill you.
And I just have like this twisted grin on my face. Alright. And I am going to roll for the haunting on this son of a bitch. Because I've had one hell of a night and my normal decorum is like, fuck it. Okay. And see if this poor bastard, for 2 nights he's going to have these terrifying visitations and shit happen to him.
Alright, so the guy who was talking to you, like, falls on his knees and grabs both sides of his, like, grabs his ears and starts shrieking and rolling on the floor. And then make a perception alertness.
Okie dokie. No. And what success I would have had, got that one, negated it, so I failed.
Alright. Oh, wow.
Yep.
Okay. So, it's 5 successes. Try to soak 3 lethal.
All right,
As
will do.
an arrow comes flying from like off to the side from like some dark shrubberies.
All right, and ones don't count on soak, right?
Right.
Okay, so I soak that lethal. I just take the arrow, and I now have an arrow stuck in my frickin' pectoral, and I'm just walking on like scary fucking undead bastard.
All right. Roll for initiative.
All right, sure thing.
You start to see more and more people crawling out of their tents and stuff.
Alright, let me do the math because I buffed my dex and I have 4 wits, so that's plus 9, that's 13.
All right. I'm just gonna have them all go on the same time. Actually, that's not fair. First one, 9. Maybe I should probably write this down. Hold on. Okay. All right. So you, as you're shambling, so basically you and the other guy, one other guy got a 13, and then one guy got 11, one guy got 9, and two guys got 5.
Yep.
So the 2 people at 5 are the archers. There's a second one. They're gonna like pop out of their bushes and start shooting arrows at you. The guy on 9 is following the lead of the guy on 13, as is the dude on 11. So they're gonna wait for him to go, and he's going to, being like the de facto leader of the group, since their actual leader is screaming on the floor. He's going to like just kind of charge you with. He's got like a big, I guess you could call it a sword. It's just like a huge jagged piece of metal, basically like crudely constructed into like a wooden handle.
Got it.
He's like rushing at you with it over his head. So you and him will go at the same time. What are you doing? He's just rushing at you, trying to hit you with his sword.
Alright, well, I see him with his arms raised up. He's trying to cleave this sword into my head, so I duck under him and I throw my elbow into his rib cage, so basically it turns it into an awkward position for him if I can.
Alright, so you'd like to parry his blow, essentially.
Yep. Yeah.
Alright, so roll a dex melee.
Sure thing.
And he will do the same.
Alright.
Okay.
So, bit of a matrix move. Stop him.
Alright, so how many successes did you get?
That's 1, 2,
like
3, 3.
Okay. So, roll strength plus 2.
Strength plus 2. Got it. Do 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 dum dum.
Since you're elbowing him in like the sternum or whatever,
Yeah, yeah. I mean solar plexus, but yeah.
which is the sternum.
Oh, didn't mean to roll that on top of everything. Pardon me.
Cool.
Plus 2, so 6. Do do. And boing. There we go. All right.
Ones do take away from damage, though.
Yeah, I know. Still, pretty cool moment.
What'd you get?
Basically 2 successes since
Okay.
that,
Because I keep like the the camera button and all that shit keeps blocking your rolls for me. All right, so 2 successes.
Yeah.
All right. He soaks it. You like elbow him in the chest, but he just like stands firm.
Yeah. Got it.
Now the dude who's on 11 is gonna come charging at you. He's got a spear. He gets 2 successes.
Dang, nice. Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Try to soak 6 lethal.
Got it. And well, and the ones are haunting me today, so I basically got 1 success.
All right, so take 5 lethal on top of your 2 egg.
All right, so I'm damn near crippled at this point.
I mean, you're past crippled. You've taken
Yep.
7 levels of damage.
All right.
I think he drives this spear, basically, for cinematic effect, into your heart. Puts you into torpor.
Got it. Cool with that.
Alright, now we'll go over to Stay Zenobi. As your lights go out and your ancestors' screaming voices fill your head. Destroyed! Destroyed by filthy mongrel fish people! Foolish, unworthy, foolhardy! You must have been the milkman's son! And now over to Stay Zenobi. Hey Zig, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Alright. Sorry for making you wait so long. But yeah,
Okay.
the state of affairs in Stay Zenobi. Recently, word has reached you that the Jews in the ghetto have blocked off the entire Jewish ghetto with like barricades and fortified themselves within. They're refusing to do business with outsiders on the account that they have been facing persecution. Also reaching your ears, there's some sort of horrifying monster stalking not only the Jewish ghetto, but the rest of the ghettos. And he apparently visits his victims nights in advance and drives them mad with fear before catching them alone at night and beating them to death. Some of them have had like some actual vicious animal-like bite wounds too, like big tears of their flesh ripped off with apparently like cruel fangs or claws or something, which is why everyone is believing this to be a monster.
Okay. How big is this Jewish ghetto?
It's probably like in modern day equivalents like 3 square blocks.
Oh, nice. And do I know how wealthy these people are?
Not very. They do have like most of the money lenders who are sometimes like very affluent, but for the most part they are aside from the one, basically all of the Jews who are not poor as shit don't live in the ghetto.
Okay, sweet. Alright, so I'm gonna avoid the ghetto for now. I want to find information on people that have been visited by this creature.
Okay, there's like other sections of quote unquote ghetto that aren't like Jewish. There's like a Saracen thing and like not really Saracen. It's not a whole Saracen section, but there's sections where there's like, you know, various unwanted ethnicities relegated to one area.
Probably like a not Catholic section.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I'll go there.
Okay. There's it's right near the like market section.
I'll look specifically. I'll look on doors that have like a lot of superstitious things on them, like garlic
Okay.
or
Okay, cool.
religious.
Make a perception hearth wisdom.
Okay, my perception is four, and my earth wisdom is 1, so it's 5 deck.
No successes. They all have weird little non-Catholic symbols all over their doors.
Is there anyone that's out in the street, like walking around?
Yeah, there's people still peddling their wares off blankets and small stalls since like the street lamps are lit.
All right, I'll like lean over to one of the stalls, and I'll drop like 2 pennies, right?
Okay.
I'll look at the guy in the face, and I'll say, I have heard that there were very strange things that happen here at night. In particular, people being visited.
Oh, hey there, Sonny. You dropped your pennies here.
Oh, no, that is for you.
Oh. Well, hold on then. 2 pennies. Oh boy. Times are really getting tough. He reaches down under his stall into a barrel and he pulls out a mackerel And he hands it to you. Yeah, this is all 2 pennies gonna get you, bud. And that's because I'm closing up.
All right, I'll glance at the fish, and I guess I'll take it, but I'll drop like 5 pennies more.
Oh, well, I see that'll get you something else. You looking for anything in particular?
I am looking for something very in particular.
Oh, all right, sure. What you looking for?
You must have heard stories of people being visited at night by something with pointed ears.
Oh, yeah. Right. He looks around left to right really shiftily, and then he like picks up the 5 pennies and like tucks them into his beard. He's like, "All right, come here, come over here," and he like motions for like an alleyway next to his stall. He puts a "back in 5 minutes" sign like in front of his stall.
I follow.
Come sit down here. There's like a crate with 2 small barrels on either side with a chessboard on top, like a crudely made chessboard. Like someone like made this in a wood shop. It's not like a nice, like expensive chess set or anything. Some of the pieces are missing. He puts a candle on there and he reaches into his beard and he produces like a little flint and he lights the candle. All right. So we came down here talking to, looking for old man Withers to tell you spook stories, did you? Well, that's not my name, but you did come to the right place. I used to be a ship captain before I came here. The fishing was so good. Anyway, I've seen many queer things. If I had another life, I could have been an old gypsy granny, sitting in front of a fireplace on a rocker, sipping funny-tasting tea, telling stories to the kiddies. But no, I'm in a back alley in a broken-down chess set talking to this guy. Where's my life gone? But anyway, you're asking around about Stitch, old Stitch, huh? Yeah. Well, word on the street is, used to be the son of the Baker family, William Baker, and his wife, Sarah. Oh, yeah. And they loved their boy, but old William got to the drinking. And he stopped going to church. Some say he'd wander in the woods, talking of strange things in the trees at night. Slowly but surely, that friendly, handsome young man turned into a sour, mean old bastard. One day, see the kid, his son, William's son, wandering through the streets, all covered in blood like. He said, "What's wrong, son? What happened?" Rush up to him, see if he's okay. He'd been slashed many times across the back with some sort of razor blades. He starts crying something terrible about his mama. He tells us we have to follow him right away. Go back to the old Baker place. He points over like down the road a little bit. There's that one right there with the sign with the loaf of bread on it, just to swing in there with all the cobwebs in the windows. It's been closed down for a while now. When we went down there, we find Mrs. Baker with her head cut clean off, nowhere to be found. Oh, it was terrible. So the good Cardinal Marlon Wayne comes down all the way from Touraine, says he's going to take Baker boy, bring him to the seminary, turn him into a man of the cloth. Well, meanwhile, the whole town's searching for Mr. Baker, but we ain't never found him. Legend has it, he'd sold his soul to Satan and came back as a demon after he killed his wife and anointed himself in her blood. Crept up to the seminary and he kidnapped his son back. Took him way away from here in the woods towards the city of Zemis, where he twisted him, turned him. Now, that little boy's come back. Something terrible, something not altogether unlike his father. And in his sadness and sorrow, he's lashing out at the people in the place from whence he came. At least that's what they're saying. The creature's got his hair, you see. Though we never seen such flaxen gold curls rolling down his cheeks hither and yon. They always look wet, slicked to the back, like Rick James.
Hmm. I nod slowly to his words, and being a storyteller myself, I'm quite entertained by the way he told it. So I'll reach into my purse and I'll drop him a few silvers.
Oh, he's trying to make me retire, huh? Trying to get in the fishing business yourself, are you?
No, this was not enough for you to retire, my friend. But
That's true. I make a lot of money in this stand.
this is for you to, and I glance at the chessboard, get something more suitable to a game.
Oh, thanks very much. Here, I owe you some change. And he goes over to the stand and he gives you like 3 more mackerels and like a big.
Hold on. As
Alright.
he turns to go to the stand,
Yeah.
I Batman vanish with obfuscate.
Sweet. He turns back around holding like all this fish and he just drops it. And whoa! Nice. 1 XP for the Batman vanish. Right off the bat.
So I slink towards the baker house that he pointed out with the
Okay.
sign and the cobwebs.
It's nice. It's just one story, but it's rather long. It's like takes up 2 lots or whatever. And the front has like a big swinging bread sign, and the door is locked. But fortunately, all of the windows in the house have been smashed by rocks.
Okay. No, did the guy call the son William?
Oh no, the father was William. I forgot to give the son a name. I'll retcon it and say his name is Charles.
Charles, okay.
Is the son? Yeah.
So being polite and hoping that this child returned to the scene of where he lived or where his father worked, I'll knock on the door first and give it a good count of 10 and then knock again. And I'll see if the door is open or if it creaks open.
Okay. It does not. It's just like you're met with like an eerie silence aside from the creak, creak, creak of like the sign swaying in the breeze.
I'll turn to walk towards one of the windows that you said is broken. And
Okay.
I'll say into this building. I'll say, William.
You hear like rats scuttle across the floor, and as you look inside, you see like the front part was basically like the bakery area. Has like racks for the bread and stuff, like shelves, I mean, and two big like stone ovens built into the walls, and then it has a small little door behind the counter that obviously leads into like the living area of the house.
All right, I'll get in. I'll get in through the window.
Okay. There's no one really around except for like the people who are like doing the stands and shit, so I won't make you roll for it. You just creep in through the window. If anything, they'll just think it's another little kid getting dared to go inside.
Yeah.
When you get inside, there's like rats and spiders all over the place, and it's all dusty and cobwebby. There's like little tracks of small bare feet from like little kids. And there's even like a dropped stuffed like sackcloth toy on the floor and a little sewn doll or something.
I'll pick up the sack stuffed toy.
Alright.
And I'll just have a look at it to look at the craftsmanship. And then I'll hold onto the toy with its one hand or one arm.
Okay.
Kind of swing it as I walk through this place.
It's not very good craftsmanship. This is clearly like homemade by someone's mom. It feels like it's filled with maybe like dried up barley or like seed shells or something.
Cool.
Sunflower seed shells or something.
So
It smells kind of funny.
I'll turn Auspex on to sight because this place is pretty dark. And to
Yeah, it
hear,
is.
just in case there's like a floorboard that creaks.
Okay.
Very slow walk through this place. I'll
Yeah,
be
the
kind
floorboards are rather creaky.
yeah, I'll be on alert, but I'll periodically say, Charles? Charles, I have heard of your father and of your mother. Charles, have you returned to Saint Zenobi? I only wish to speak with you.
Do you
I
head
think.
further into the house?
Oh yeah, I head further in.
Okay. When you open that door, it leads to the little sitting area. There's just like 3 wooden chairs set up near the fireplace. There's like a little wooden table with 3 wooden trenchers on it, and like pewter goblets. They're not goblets, like like a tin cup, I guess, basically. 3 tin cups there, and some forks. And actually, on the table is a like wide assortment of like fresh fruits, which is funny because everything else is covered in dust and stuff. And they're all just sitting in the middle of the table.
All right, I'll go and sit down at this table, and I'll glance at the fresh fruit. Does it look like some of it? If there's grapes there, does it look like some of the grapes have been picked, or if it's all
Um,
looking totally fresh?
yeah, very good idea. Yes, some of the grapes have been picked, and there are a couple of little like peels here and there, like starting to molder away. And it looks like there's both fresh and old fruit on this table now that you make a closer look at it. Like some of it's got fuzz on it and shit from being there so long.
All right. Um, I'm starting to wonder if this guy is feeding himself or if he's feeding the rats that are here. I'll try to do some kind of investigative check just from the seated area, whether there's like fruit or peels on the floor.
Okay,
Anywhere
do
that I can see.
perception investigation, I guess.
My perception is 4 and my investigation is 1.
Okay, you got 1 success this time. You're looking around for like all signs of like whatever you were looking for, and you just notice something in the dust. There is like in the seat next to yours, like a very small little butt print and little hand, like child hand prints on the table,
Mm.
like in the
I'll,
dust.
I'll keep my eyes in that direction, at the dust and at the chair, and I'll say, Charles, are you with me? I feel that I am just as you are. We have much in
Make
common.
sorry, what is your perception alertness?
My perception is 4 and my alertness is 2.
Okay, and you say that you used aspects for sight and hearing, right?
And hearing, yeah.
Alright, so this is a hearing roll. Okay. You hear, you get mad successes, and you hear, coming from below you, a low, like, stomping and grumbling. And you can see actually near one of the windows in here, there is a rug that's pulled to the side, and like that you hadn't noticed before. And there's like a trap door there on the floor where the rug has been.
I'll pick up an apple and open the trap door slowly. Before I descend, I'll say, Charles, I am but a friend. And I head downstairs with the. Is it like a ladder that goes down, or is it like a stairwell?
It's a ladder.
So I'll head down with the apple in my mouth.
Okay. You head down the ladder, and you're in like this very narrow but still pretty, actually rather tall, dugout, like wine cellar area, and then in one wall, like on the other side of the wall where all like the wine bottles are, most of them are gone actually. A few of them are broken on the floor. There's a hole dug through the wall, and you can see 2 like glowing eyes looking out at you from this big man-sized hole in the wall.
All right, I
You
immediately
are not one of the children.
I'll put on a smile for him. I am Asir de Mavosin, one of the Mavosins of the city. You must have heard me on what I said above. I am a child of Gain.
Those
Now,
fruits that you are eating are for the children.
and who are the children?
He sweeps his hand over the top. Actually, he steps forward a little bit into the light and you see huge, pale, shirtless, hulkingly muscular thing. Has really, really exaggeratedly angular features to the point where its face almost looks sharp. It's got sunken in eyes and its nose and mouth protrude, but its cheeks are really sunken in. It's got two glowing eyes, big, huge, tall ears, and this blonde Jerry curl looking hair running down its back. And it's wearing a pair of sackcloth pants and manticles around its ankles that are broken. They still have little bits of chain hanging off them. And he steps forward into the light and he blocks his eyes a little bit with his hand as he looks at you. The children, he sweeps his hand over the top of the thing, of my city where I grew up. These children are suffering. There's not enough to eat, so I bring them the fruits to keep them coming here.
The children. I nod and I glance around, towards the, I guess the corners of this room or whatever I can see.
If I didn't have fresh fruit all the time, the children would stop coming here. They fear me for what I sometimes do. I am trying to be a good Christian and a servant of God, but the attacks, I cannot help myself. I get hungry looking at the children, and then I need to sate it. But no, never on the children. I love the children. You must understand, I love the children.
Mhm. I nod towards him, and can you call the children, or do they come on their own?
You usually come.
I nod towards him. Well, my friend, I see that you were at one point manacled and kept prisoner, and I have heard a story about your family that once worked here, and that perhaps your father took you away. Is all of this
No,
true?
my father was a good man. He was taken by the men in red. They called my mother a witch. They hacked her to pieces. They tried to kill me, and I escaped. But I was brought back, and their leader, the terrible cardinal in red in the city of cathedrals, held me prisoner for a dark being. He tried to broker my soul, and for 3 nights I resisted. And by the time the nights were over, I was like this. Some dark angel had come to me in my cell and gave me the strength to escape. But now, my mind, my mind.
Did this dark angel look much like you?
No, she was beautiful. dark skin and eyes.
I'll try to get closer towards this guy.
He kind of like recoils a little bit, but then like remembers that he's big and tries to like puff up and look tough. But you see he's like nervous.
It is too late for you to be a good Christian. You do no longer have the appearance of a good Christian. It is as you said. They will see you, and they will recoil. You must make a new life for yourself. And it is good that you do these things for the children. I would never step in the way and prevent you. But I must tell you that the people in all of the wards, they believe that a monster is on the loose, and that you invade their home, and you prey upon certain people. Is this all true?
This is my home as well. I try to only do the violence on bad men who would harm the children or others, or
Uh,
lepers and those they do not. Terrible people, not good Christians. I hope that one day God will forgive me.
Can I make a aspects check to see his aura? Just because
Oh yeah, for sure.
thinking he's a vampire, but I'm not entirely sure yet. So it's 5 dice.
Okay, you got 1, 2, 3 successes.
Sweet.
Alright, so you can see his aura. He's definitely a kindred. He's got the pale aura. He's frightened and remorseful, if that's one of the things, whatever. He's like feeling sorrowful or remorseful and frightened. And also his aura, like, the frightful and, or like the frightened and remorseful thing keeps like flashing and swirling in a strange pattern that you've only seen like on Malkavians and stuff at the Black Elysium.
Okay, alright. So I raise a brow at him.
Yeah, that usually indicates insanity. It doesn't always indicate a Malkavian.
I can perhaps help you. If you would take it, of course. There are certain things that you must be aware of before you make a decision. First of all, this city, even though it is yours, and even though you lived in it once, is ruled by the Demovosin family, of which I am a member. The man, just like you were approached by an angel that gave you power. I was approached by a similar kind, and he holds rule over this city. I am his representative, and you will have to present yourself before him at your convenience, of course. And when you do, he will make judgment upon you, kind of like the god that you believe in. But do not fear, he is a kindly sort, and he will most likely just let you continue to do what it is that you do. Though he will ask you to be more cautious, because these stories of this hunter, the hunter being you, of course, they can bring in other hunters, the kind that we do not enjoy.
I've seen them. The men in red killed my mother and took my father.
Well, I will go see these men in red if you believe that your father still lives.
I do not believe he still lives.
Well, I will
I've
see.
given up hope on that long ago. My father would be very old by now.
I will see them nevertheless, because I am curious, and because I believe that I can take care of myself. You must have the changes that happened to you. They must be recent. This need for blood.
Yes.
And you are drawn to children above everything else. You need to feed. And I raise a brow as if it's a question I'm asking him.
I would never hurt the children. I won't feed on the children. Only the bad people.
This is a restriction. I nod towards him. I value that. You must know the blood that you enjoy above all others. I will tell you that I do not enjoy feeding on children either. But I will tell you that this ward that the Jews live in, if you can, feed in that ward exclusively.
Yes, I will feed there exclusively.
And I gesture towards the direction, even though I know we're in the basement and you can't see it. But I gesture in the general direction of where the tower is, or the castle.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, no doubt you have found ways to disguise yourself and to walk in shadows, I hope. If not, learn them before you venture towards the castle. And in the throne room you will see my sire, and you will present yourself to him. And you will bring him a gift, because that is how things work here.
He nods, and he starts looking around. Yes, a gift for the one who allows me to stay in his city.
I nod.
And if your master, the master of this city, should judge me harshly for what I have done and my appearance, please give me your word that the children will not go hungry.
The children will not go hungry, I guarantee. You
I
have
will
nothing
meet
to fear.
in 3 days' time, when next the hunger becomes too great to bear. I will come. I will feed in the ghettos, and then present myself before your lord. I will come to him as I once was. And he he touches his face. And puts his hand low down to the ground. With his palm facing the ground.
I'll give him a very low nod. And it almost looks like a bow in return, but it's not. And I'll say, it is Charles, is it not? That is your name? Or was I misinformed?
Yes. Charles. Charles Baker. The children have a different name for me.
And what is it?
They call me the Old Stitch. And he turns around and he points at his back, and you see these jagged, ropey scars that have little raised lines through them as if they were very crudely stitched up. And you can actually even see running down his spine there is gold stitch work in his back, like golden thread from the men in red.
I admire it for a moment, and before I depart, I just thinking about it, it just comes to my mind now, and I say, while you were captive, did you hear these men in red say any particular name over and over again? I wish to see if you remember who their leader was.
Yes. Their leader, the Cardinal Wayne.
Cardinal Wayne. Does that sound familiar to me with politics, or no?
Yeah, you've seen him many times. He's that cardinal who comes to the Prince's Elysium and shit. He's he's a mortal he's in on it with the vampires.
Oh, okay. But he's also an infernalist. Dun, dun, dun. Alright. I grin and thank him. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your night.
He nods.
I'll set the apple down before I leave. I'll say, just offhandedly, I'll say, for the children, of course. And I'll make my way out.
Alright. Make your way out of the whole building?
Yeah, I make my way up to the upper level and obfuscate it so people don't see that I've kind of
Okay, I'm gonna roll you just a passive perception alertness as you leave.
Sweet.
You get 2 successes. You notice, like, out of the corner of your eye, as soon as you're outside of the house, the apple is back on the table with, like, your 2 little fang marks in it.
Excellent.
Anything else you want to do? If not, I'm going to end this.
Just letting you know that I'm probably going to make arrangements to travel to the north because of all this infernal stuff. But
Okay.
I want to, in particular, find this Cardinal Wayne, was it?
Yeah, you know that his seat is in Touraine.
Yeah, that's where I want to go next. So
Okay.
I'm making plans for that.
Your men start to, like, pack up a convoy to go with you.
Sweet. All right, I'm good.
All right.